Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to a sad video. Welcome to another video. Today we're talking about a very special subject for me, and this subject is Community. Community was possibly one of the first show I reviewed. Community was possibly one of my favorite show. I mean, it's my first time with Dan Harmon. Dan Harmon was the genius behind Rick and Morty, Community. Community to me, why am I doing a video on Community? First of all, well, Community left Netflix tonight, which is the 31st of March. And it's sad because Community came to me. It's actually really funny. I had this, when I came into our apartment, right? I didn't want to pay for the cable because it was too expensive. So we bought a adapter or a receiver, and you receive channel from other neighbor. One of the channel that I had was the base one, really base one. So we're talking news, we're talking one actual channel that I enjoyed. And then we talked about another channel, which was the CW. And the CW showed off Community. Community was my first experience with actors like freaking the girl who played Annie, Childish Gambino. We're talking about Senior Chang. It was the show that was really fun, but to be honest, I didn't fall in love with Community right away. I didn't fall in love with Community at all, actually. I fell in love with Community much later, but at first it was just a show that I enjoyed watching because there was nothing else on TV. And I feel bad saying this on a video that's paying homage, because this is an homage. This is a farewell to Community. It left Netflix, which is the place I would listen to it since fucking COVID, which leads to breakdown. Another breakdown, the lockdown, I'm sorry. And Community was such an important thing in my life, because Community came at a time where, so at the job I have right now, that I just finished actually a couple of days ago, which I worked for 7 years. I fell in love with Netflix because I was talking to a guy who swore up and down that Netflix was the best streaming service. I said, okay. And then the first show I watched was, of course, The Office. The Office was so good. So fucking good that I finished it watching, and I watched it another time. Why was The Office so important to me? Well, the very first show that I fell in love with, the very first show that built me as a person, was Trailer Park Boy. Now, Trailer Park Boy is a Canadian show, but what it is a mockumentary. So, a documentary disguised as a comedy. A comedy disguised as a documentary. Office was the same thing. The Office was so good that I watched it once, and then I watched it another time right away. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with The Office. I watched it 2 times. Then I watched Parks and Recreation, which was good, but just wasn't as good as The Office. Sorry, Parks and Rec fan. I'm in love with Ron Swanson, but it's just not enough to carry a show. I think the show is great, but when I finished Parks and Rec, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to watch it right away. And that's not to say that it wasn't a good show. Just to say I wasn't going to watch it right away. Still, I wasn't over mockumentary. Believe me or not, I wrote down best mockumentary on Google, found Community. Then I realized that it was a show that I used to watch. Where 6 years later, and then I watched the first season, and I fell in love. I fell in love with characters like Pierce was a lovable asshole. Community was the best because Community was a perfect excuse to have a course. It was its own universe. It was its own microcosm of society. There was this a course like there's a fucking course for who's the boss. And admittedly, the first of the show is good. So in The Office, we can say that the show is at its best before Michael leave. Well, in Community, we have Pierce that's living in season 4 out of 6. We have Childish Gambino that's living Troy Baker, or what's his real name? Donald Grover, I think. That lives in chapter 4, episode 6, which is the Magma Floor is Lava. It was just such a good show because, again, it was a dark humor. They were willing to go places that The Office wouldn't. And it was just so good. It was the universe. The what I love, I keep on comparing The Office to the Community, and I know I shouldn't, but this is how I feel. The Office was this show where you follow people that was working for a paper company, and you realize that you didn't care about the paper company, you cared about the people that was living in it. Community did better than that, and am I saying that Community is better than The Office? No. I think they're too different to compare. But Community, you fell in love with the college, you fell in love with Greendale, you fell in love with Dean, you fell in love with Side Start, whatever this name is. Fell in love with the with the class, the fact that Jack Black was a part of it, the fact that Owen Wilson was a part of it, the fact that Ben Stiller was a part of it, the fact that there were so many characters that you could find endearing from. It was just crazy good. It's the episode where they did a fort war, and the fort war was a pillow fort. And then Pierce, he got corrupted. You got a character like Britta, who was this very cartoonish version of the Goody Two Shoes. You had Hanny, who was trying to discover herself. Troy was making an identity. They all came from background where they were something. Annie was the first of her class. Troy was a wonderful athlete. Abed, he knew everything about the TV series. And although he wasn't part of a social club, he was still a pro in his thing. Pierce was a guy with a lot of success in business, which makes him an asshole. You had Shirley, who was an amazing mother, but didn't have much of a life beside of that. And you had Shirley that was the mother. And finally, you had Jeff, which is the main character, who was a lawyer, and he found himself hitting the bottom of the barrel, which is the college. You fell in love with Greendale because of the environment it gave. You fell in love with Greendale because it seemed like his own society. You fell in love with Greendale because it seemed like his own universe. You fell in love with the character because they were part of that universe. They were your introduction to Greendale. You fell in love with the teacher that was teaching survival. You fell in love with Senior Chang, who admittedly becomes a student, and he becomes this crazy character who becomes like a dictator. There's just so many things that are good in Community, and it's sad to see it goes. To me, that's a show that everybody has to watch. Now, admittedly, on me thinking that it was gonna be forever on Netflix, I wished I watched it last time, and I didn't. But yeah, I'm raising my cup to Community. It was a great show. Again, Dan Harmon, a genius of comedy. Community, my issue, because I have to be honest, my issue with Community is it could have been so much more, but it never reached full potential, and I don't know why. Anywho, but I love you that you matter. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.